Good morning. My name is Ralf Friedrichs. I am an author, an addiction recovery coach, a life coach, and the host of this show, the Take Your Life Back Today radio show. You can see a video version of this if you go to YouTube under channel Take Your Life Back Today show. I was just recently featured in another sober magazine, and it pretty much said it is hard to describe the feeling of sobriety because after a little over 7 years, I cannot separate the various feelings that come with thinking with a clear head, the changes in the way I think, and confronting the feelings that I ignored, neglected, or avoided for so long. This was an interview, and these are my names. The amazing events that are byproduct of living sober bring an entirely different set of feelings that include a sense of honor and responsibility. Sobriety alone was a pretty frightening thing, I said. My drinking progressed from a casual drinking up through the catastrophic, self-destructive, isolating blackouts in my late 40s. The last attempt at sobriety before 2013 started out very much like many temporary attempts over the previous years, as consequences forced me to try to curb or stop my consumption. In fact, throughout the first week of sobriety, I harbored the idea that once the effects of my recent debauchery were smothered or faded, I could probably start drinking again. I would just have to be more conscientious about how much I was drinking. Somehow, I could not put that thought into my perspective of the many failed resolutions and plans of the past. You see, friends, something miraculous happened the next week. Perhaps the eventual purge and detoxification of alcohol from my system allowed me to think clearly, see the mess I was making of my life and the impact on my loved ones and people closest to me. A week after my last drink, I suddenly became aware of the pain I was causing my family and my friends around me. I was devastated and completely demoralized. Although raised knowing who God was and still somewhat practicing believing in Him, in all actuality, I was accidentally a believer at best. Of all the morning after foxhole prayers I pleaded with God, I didn't understand begging to get out of one scrape or another. I finally found myself on my knees in earnest giving up before the same mysterious God. I was completely spent. I had hit rock bottom. I couldn't see any way out of my problems of my own doing. My needs were many, but my exhaustions were so thorough that all I could do was to ask for help in whatever way He saw fit. I cannot remember every feeling so completely empty and sad. There was no immediate relief. I could not sleep as I was consumed by feeling of utter doom. As melodramatic as that description might sound to you, what happened next could only be described as a miracle from God. My head was filled with the brightest light that I have ever experienced in my life. I felt an absolute calm that is indescribable, especially in contrast to the crushing despair of just a few hours prior. It seems as if time was irrelevant and all of my thoughts were occurring consecutively, but it was not frantic or confusing. It felt completely natural. I suddenly had insight to what course of action that I needed to take all my most pressing problems to get them solved with a sense of acceptance to whatever the outcome as long as I took the action and I took it through God. I am convinced that calm was God's grace given to me by Him. The obsession to drink was lifted from me. The grace allowed me to look at myself with dignity starting that day. I had tried in the past and liked the principles behind the program, but I wasn't ready to stop drinking. Sobriety today is so much more than not drinking. It truly is being engaged in the lives around me. It gives me freedom and courage to question my own thoughts and beliefs. It also allows me to be responsible and of service to my family and fellow man. I suppose the best way for me to answer the original question is that sobriety, with all of its ramifications, gives me the peace through God. Now, as a minister, a 5-time author, a certified addiction recovery coach, and a life coach, and the host of this particular show, a daily podcast and YouTube channel, God has showed me my calling in helping others, which I do each and every day. Call me at 844-405-HELP. Together, you and I, we can help each other take our lives back. Be good to yourselves and always be good to each other. And remember, a simple smile to a stranger can change that stranger's day in their life. It can make a difference in your life as well. This was my journey. These were my answers to questions asked by a Sober magazine online. And I hope that you learned something from it. Take good care, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. And may God bless each and every one of you. And have a great day. Bye-bye now.